After a long time, welcome back to my channel. Because of some problems, I can't able to come to back to my channel because of some heavy problems. I can't able to come in YouTube. So today let's start with Times of India first. Today the date is July 22. Okay, so look at the first headlines. Paper. ICU COVID cost equal to 7 months pay for average Indian. The cost of hospitalization in ICU for COVID treatment in India is equivalent to 7 months or more of the earnings for the average salaried, self-employed or casual worker, with the burden on casual workers equivalent to a year and 3 months income. A study by the Public Health Foundation of India and the Duke Global Health Institute in the US has concluded. It said that no deaths due to the lack of oxygen reported by the states. Said by the center, the government on Tuesday told Parliament that there are no deaths due to the lack of oxygen specifically reported by states and UTS during the second wave of COVID-19. Before this opinion by the center, we also know that lack of I think it is true that lack of patient died due to the lack of oxygen. So the response drew strong reactions, particularly on social media, given the crisis of medical oxygen during the second wave. But the health minister Manushk Mandeva tweeted that the data was based on the reports from the states and UTS. He also said during a discussion on the pandemic in the Rajya Sabha that the states had been urged to report all the cases and deaths. The demand for oxygen peaked at nearly 9,000 MT compared to 3,096 MT in the first wave, following which the center had to step in to facilitate the equitable distribution among the states, Mandeva added. The minister was responding to a question on whether a large number of COVID-19 patients died on the roads and hospitals due to acute shortage of oxygen. In the second wave, the center has supported the states that undertook a series of actions, including providing provisional medical oxygen and other consumables to ensure clinical care of patients in view of the steep rise of COVID-19 trajectory in the countries during April-May, she said. France launches probe into Pegasus spying law. Macron among potential targets for surveillance. The cell phones of French President Emmanuel Macron and 15 members of the French government may have been among potential targets in 2019 of surveillance by spyware made by the Israel-based group, according to a newspaper report on Tuesday. The Paris prosecutor office announced it in investigating the suspected widespread use of Pegasus spyware to target journalists, human rights activists, and politicians in multiple countries. Next, ICU cost for COVID-19 equal to 7 months pay for average Indian. So let's focus on the details. Cost of hospitalization in the ICU for COVID-19 treatment in India is equivalent to 7 months or more of earnings for the average salaried, self-employed, or casual worker, with the burden on casual workers equivalent to a year and 3 months income, a study has concluded. The paper and cost and affordability for COVID testing and treatment in India by the Public Health Foundations and the India and the Duke Global Health Institute in the US is pre-print stage. Using government capped prices, the study calculated that households must be spent over 64,000 crore rupees on testing and hospitals from April 2022 to June 2021. According to the study, the cost of hospitalization in an ICU exceeds the annual income of 86% of casual workers, of over 50% of the salaried, and the 2/3 of those who are self-employed. Even the cost just isolation in hospital exceeds the annual income of over 43% of casual workers, a quarter of the self-employed, and the 15% of salaried. Even an estimate of rupees 2,200 for an RT-PCR test in private sector would amount to a week's earnings for a casual worker. Study considered an average episode of COVID-19 as 10 days if in ICU and 7 days if isolating at home, and calculated the earnings of the different categories of workers from the periodic labor force survey of 2017-18. Next, India concern news. US Secretary of State may visit India next week. US Secretary of State Antony Blinken is expected to visit India next week, official sources said. Blinken will hold talks with his counterpart S. Jaishankar and is expected to call on PM Narendra Modi during what will be his first visit to India as a Secretary of State. Blinken would be the second high-ranking Britain administration officials to visit India since it came to power in January. US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin paid a 3-day visit to India in March to further boost ties. Is also expected to discuss its concerns over the deteriorating security situation in Afghanistan following in the US with a withdrawal from the country. As from the defense news, AF Army Chief to visit seek military aid. Everybody knows that the US withdrawal troops from Afghanistan and very dangerous situation is arisen there. So, Afghan Army Chief General Wali Muhammad Ahmed Zai is slated to visit India next week to seek a further boost in military assistance to his war-ravaged country amidst the Taliban making rapid advance post-withdrawal of US-led forces from Afghanistan, reports. Is slated to meet National Security Advisor Ajit Doval, Chief of Defense Staff General Bipin Rawat, and Army Chief General M. Naravane, IAF Chief Air Chief Air Marshal R.K. Bhadoria, among others, during his 4-day visit to India. He will also visit the Indian Military Academy, including the academy at Dehradun, said sources. India issues tender for rupees 50,000 crore sub-project. The government of Tuesday issued the tender for the long-pending rupees 50,000 crores project to construct 6 new-generation conventional steel submarines with foreign collaboration as part of long-term plan to counter China's expanding naval presence in Indian Ocean region. NIOR, the Defense Ministry assured the RFP to Defense Shipyard Mazagon Docks MDL and private shipbuilder Larsen & Toubro, who in turn will tie up with one of the 5 shortlisted foreign companies to submit the commercial bids for the mega diesel-electric submarine building program called Project 75 India. The foreign shipbuilders are naval groups Genus and ThyssenKrupp Marine Systems Germany, Navan Davi South Korea. So as it is said, the submarines will be armed with a total of 18 land attack cruise missiles and heavy torpedoes, as well as equipped with fuel cell based air dependent propulsions for greater underwater endurance. 600 km/h, China unveils world's fastest maglev train. China unveiled a maglev train capable of a top speed of 600 km/h on Tuesday, stated media said. Let's focus, let's details go on the news. Iran launches matchmaking app as fertility rates fall. Iran, facing a fall in fertility rates, has launched state-approved matchmaking apps to promote marriage in the Islamic country. It restricts contact between unrelated man and woman. Hamdan company developed a state-affiliated Islamic cultural body calculates users to verify their identity and carries out psychological compatibility tests and gives advice for young singles seeking a marriage partner. The app offers matching and counseling services to couples and their families and remains in touch with them for 4 years after marriage. Officials have expressed concern that Iran's population could be among the oldest in the world. In 2 decades of the fertility rates among Iranian women with the prior to preference for the past 4 years.